I'm really excited to be sharing with you guys my grocery shopping and meal planning strategy for 2025. So, it is my grand plan and great intention to have a no spend year or no buy 2025. I already have a video up on my channel talking about this, sharing the rules and ramifications or parameters that I have set in place for myself for the no buy 2025. I will link that down in the description below for you in case you haven't seen it yet. But in that video, I talked about checking in with you guys regularly, having some accountability here on my channel, especially for those of you who want to have a no-buy year as well, and we could check in and stay accountable to each other. But I thought beyond that, it would also be helpful to share maybe some tips and tricks and ideas and plans and intentions that I have to save where I can for things that we do actually need to purchase in our lives in 2025. What better place to start than with probably the thing that we all have in common, which is grocery shopping. So I'm going to open up my little Stalogy A6 notebook here and share with you guys how I grocery shop and meal plan, and also the tip, maybe the money saving strategy that I am bringing back into my life in 2025. This is something that I used to do years ago when my kids were really tiny and we were on a super, super tight budget. It's called the leftover rollover, and it's actually not food leftovers. You'll see. We are going to get into it, you guys. Also, let's keep in mind as we go through this, not everybody eats the same or shops the same. This is an example of what works best for me when grocery shopping and meal planning, and I am sharing to hopefully just give some tips, ideas, and inspiration. Also, I live out in the country, quite a ways away from any grocery store, so I cannot go online and order my groceries. I can't get them delivered, and it's super inconvenient for me to do the grocery pickup. So I literally go to the grocery store the old-fashioned way and shop with a list. So if you think this makes zero sense to you, you can just go into your usual online cart, click add to cart, and check out. That's amazing. I would love to do that most days, but I cannot. Okay, so let's get into it. The first place that I always start when doing my grocery list and meal planning is with an inventory. I inventory what we already have on hand in the refrigerator, in the pantry, in the bathroom cabinets and shelves, all the things that we could possibly need to see what we already have on hand to make sure that I am not wasting precious budget on things that do not yet need to be replenished. Within that inventory, I am checking for expiration dates on things in the pantry and the refrigerator. So I do not make a list of everything that I have on hand in my inventory. That is totally unnecessary. But I do make a list of things that I must use, things that are close to their expiration date or that have been sitting for a really long time. We need to make sure to get them used up in our upcoming meal planning schedule. And then I also like to make a list of things that these ingredients can go into. So for example, as you can see, if I have dried beans that need used up, I could make chili. If I have elbow macaroni, I could do baked mac and cheese. I try to make sure that it's things that I already have on to complete these recipes. I have on hand to complete these recipes, but I'll just go ahead and add it to the grocery list if I need more things to create these meals, just to make sure this stuff gets used up. Then I like to make a meal ideas list of things that we already have on hand to make sure, again, I can use up the stuff that we have in the refrigerator, in the pantry, not necessarily stuff that is a must use, that it absolutely has to get used up, it's about to expire, but a list of things to make sure that I'm still keeping the stuff that was bought in the last grocery haul in the rotation. So the must use and the meal ideas are for what we currently are sitting on, what's currently in the refrigerator and the pantry before I go out of the house to do any grocery shopping. Things that need used up right away make great lunches for my kiddos. So I have 2 teenage boys who can eat a fair amount of food. So if I have a bag of potatoes that have been sitting for a while, they need used up, I can make a bunch of baked potatoes for them for their lunches. They love baked potato lunches. Or I could make a big pot of loaded potato soup, anything like that, something that will use a lot of potatoes all at once. Even if you are doing the online grocery shopping, if you have your groceries delivered or you pick them up, the inventory is still a smart thing to do. You can unclick the thing or however it works. I'm very old fashioned. I've never grocery shopped online. So you can unclick the thing or choose to not add it to your online cart. That way you're not rebuying and respending budget over and over on things that you already have on hand. Then I will start to make my actual grocery list. Now, you can do this one of two ways. You can make your meal plan first and then the grocery list based on the meal plan and the meals that you want to have for yourself and your family. This works especially well if you're trying a new recipe. If you've found a new recipe online or on Pinterest or in a cookbook and you want to try it out, then of course you're going to need to add to your grocery list the list of ingredients or make sure that you already have all of them. In the case of myself and my family, we tend to rotate the same meals or types of meals throughout the meal plan because we like to have low carb, almost zero junk food, high protein meals. However, I do usually have one of my two kiddos with me helping me grocery shop. And on Friday nights, we do family game night or family movie night. And they tend to choose while they're in the store with me the ingredients or the one meal that they want to do for the Friday night. But for the rest of the time, the rest of the meals, we stick to pretty much the same thing in regular rotation. Now, if you're thinking, Alana, we said we were on a budget, we're shopping smart, you have steak on your list. Yes, I do. I love to feed my family high quality meals on a budget. So I shop the clearance section of the meat for steaks. I tend to buy store brand products. I do not buy name brand products unless it's something that we are very familiar with. We like the ingredients and it's something that we have regularly, like for example, bacon. I will buy name brand bacon, but everything else, especially my canned goods or dry goods, those are definitely the store brand items. And the steak, the clearance meat section, you guys, if it's close to its expiration date, you can still freeze it and make it last. It will not continue to expire if you put it in the freezer. So I go to the clearance section of Albertsons or Fred Meyer's. It's Kroger or Ralph's in some states, I believe. I will go to their clearance meat section and buy a whole bunch of clearance steak and clearance ground beef and freeze it. Or if it's still a few days away from the expiration, then I will work around my meal plan and make sure that we're getting the ground beef and the steak in the upcoming days. Steak can go a long way. If you do the thin boneless steaks, it can go a long way in a meal and you don't need one steak for each individual person in your family. So for example, I make steak burritos for my family or steak fried rice for my family. There's 4 of us, but I can get away with slicing up 2 steaks and the extra things that are in the burritos or in the rice are filler and they'll go a long way. This is just an example grocery shopping page, but this is pretty dang accurate to how I always shop for my family. As you can see, another way that I shop smart is I shop seasonally. So there's not going to be things like watermelon or avocados. Sadly, I would love to have some avocados right now, but there's not going to be out of season things on my grocery list because that just jacks up the price. It also isn't as good if you're buying a melon right now in the winter in our state anyway. If you're a little bit more southern, you can definitely get away with it. But we are northern, and if you're shopping seasonal produce in the winter, it's not going to taste as good and it's going to be more expensive. I also like to do things like buy the bigger pack and break it down. So for example, our grocery store will do the big family size pack of ground beef on the 50% off. Sometimes it doesn't sell. You got to check it. It's still a great deal to buy the family pack and break it down, even if it's not in the clearance section. But I try to find it in the clearance section when it's 50% off. I will break it down and I will put it in freezer bags, or my husband will do the vacuum seal bags, and it will make it go further, last longer. I also like to buy whole chickens. At our grocery store, you can buy 2 whole chickens frozen together in one pack for like $12 or $14. I will roast them and I will break them down. So I will take all of the meat and plan out different meals for those. So we can have chicken salad sandwiches, or just chicken sandwiches. We can have different soups. We could have chicken chili. There's a ton of meals that you can make, and it's so much cheaper rather than buying them separated out. I do have chicken breast on here. That's a rare occasion for me. Again, this is something that I'm going to check in the clearance or discounted section. I normally try to stick to buying whole chickens and then breaking them down to last for multiple meals. The other way I shop smart, and this is the one thing that I'm really going to be leaning on in 2025 to make sure that I am not spending on unnecessary and I'm also saving on the necessary, and that is carrying my phone throughout the store and adding up everything that I buy. So I'm going to add the price of each item into my phone to calculate it to make sure that I'm staying on budget. And within that budget, I am bringing back something called the leftover rollover. No, it's not leftover food, but that is another way to save, to have leftovers in your meal plan. I personally am not a huge fan of leftovers unless it's lasagna or spaghetti, but my family still gets them eaten and they are enjoyed, and it doesn't go to waste in this house. My leftover rollover is actually money from the budget. So I'm going back to taking cash out on my way to the grocery store. Some people might see this as a little bit extreme or inconvenient, but it's going to help save. So the leftover rollover is the money that is left at the end of my grocery shopping trip, and it's going to roll over into the next one, meaning the amount of money that I saved from the first budget is going to roll over into the next one and count toward the next one. So let's say my budget for the 2-week grocery haul is $400 and I spend $350. That means the next time that I'm going out for grocery shopping, I bring that $50 with me and I take $50 less out of the bank to spend. So the next time I went out, I would get out $350 and take the $50 rolled over from the last time to spend in the next grocery haul. Does that make sense? If you guys want to see this, like IRL, if you want me to actually show you my grocery shopping and my grocery haul and how I am doing this in my actual life in 2025, I can try to figure out a way to share that with you guys. Then, of course, it's on to the meal plan. Like I said, do what works for you and your family. Either plan before or after you make the grocery list. I can do it either way because, like I said, we tend to stick to the same types of meals and we eat seasonally. In 2025, I am going back to grocery shopping every 2 weeks instead of once a week. The less trips out, the more gas money I save, the less things I'm seeing that I'm going to be tempted to buy. That's one extra week of not looking at mugs or holiday decor, none of that stuff. So here's what a typical meal plan would look like for our family. As you can see, we are one short for a week because I do let my kiddos choose their special meal for Friday family night. We don't eat out. We get fast food a handful of times a year. One, it's not good for us. It's no longer affordable. You cannot roll up to McDonald's and get a whole bunch of food for $20 anymore. You just can't. But it's not good for you. There's no savings anymore. And also, we live quite a ways away out of town, like I said, away from the convenience of grabbing fast food. I love to cook for my family anyways. We love home cooked meals. And then our youngest kiddo has dreams of being a chef and one day owning his own restaurant or bakery. And he loves to help meal plan and cook and be in the kitchen with me as well. So it's just an all around great time for us. Week 1 is where I'm going to be using up the more perishable items, so fresh vegetables or green salad, things like that. I'm going to make sure to get those used up and not have them sit too long in the refrigerator. Week 2 is going to be more of like the crock pot meals or the baked meals, things like that. And then I will also list out the things that I need to meal prep for on a Sunday or at the start of a new week. If you guys want some budget-friendly meal planning ideas or tips, if you're looking for some recipes, I would be more than happy to share that with you guys. But like I said, get those clearance meats, break it down, get the whole chickens, break those down, make them last. The steak can go further if you're doing steak burritos with potato and vegetables and beans and other things in it. It'll go further in fried rice with lots of filler. If you're making things with vegetables where they're going to get cooked, like a fried rice or something in a crock pot or a soup, you can save money by buying frozen bags of vegetables, and they will go further. You won't need the whole bag of frozen vegetables, frozen peas or broccoli. You can make it go further and you're not spending quite as much on buying fresh vegetables. But you guys, this is the way I am going to be grocery shopping, meal planning, saving, and shopping smart in 2025 on the things that we actually do need. Let me know if you have any questions about this. Let us know down in the comments if you have any smart shopping strategies or money saving tips. Let's share and help everybody out, especially for those of us who are going to be going through it with the No Buy 2025. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys, catching up with you down in the comments. If you want to see more about grocery shopping, grocery hauls, meal planning, recipes, any of those things, I'd be happy to share with you. Just let me know. That's all for this one, you guys. I will see you in my next one. Tell your dog I said hi. Bye, guys.